Now I got to go back to my business page and share it again. And all right, take two. Two? Oh, wow. That was unnecessarily noisy. Let's try that again. Okay, so that's shared. Let's get back over here. And let's see if we can get some music. Looks like no. We'll hit play just in case it decides to start working. Did I make my own jump rings? I have made my own jump rings in the past, but these are all from the Ring Lord. And I got lucky because I was able to get rings that I had some rings that were very old that I hadn't done anything with, which is how this project got started. And I was able to order some rings that matched. And now we're here. All right. And we're almost done with the base layer of this, and we can start building it up vertically, which will be awesome. The Ring Lord is from Canada. Thank you for the follow. They are in Scarborough, Canada. There's a couple of Canadian ring suppliers, a couple of US ones, some Australian, some one in the UK, one in Austria. You're in Niagara Falls? Yeah, they're close to you. Which... come on. They are... I know they've had a couple events, like back in the day. You've got mail. Yep. But, I don't think they've done anything since the business changed hands a few times. How you doing, Chuck? But they did have like a big chainmail get-together way back, and they were very far away from me then. So I moved all the way across the United States, and they're still very far away, so... we might have to just do a different option here. It's fine, you know. I appreciate you guys hanging out, but sitting here in silence, hearing the sound of my own voice is like nails on a chalkboard. You make jewelry too? You always forget to look them up? Yeah. Right on. What kind of? I mean, I'm assuming like necklaces, bracelets, earrings, as far as like jewelry, but do you have a specific style, like goth jewelry, steampunk jewelry, Renaissance jewelry? All right, let's try this. Let's go YouTube. What is the term copyright-free music? Yeah, copyright-free background music. What have we got? We'll just try some out. 12 hours of copyright-free music. Let's try. There we go. Dude, you waited... Okay. You waited to see me live just to tell me you love the stuff I do. That's so awesome. Compared to some of the comments I've gotten today on other threads. Thank you. That means a ton. I'm glad you like it. Not all the stuff I make is this cool, but this is an exceptionally cool piece. If it should turn out. if it doesn't turn out, we will adjust it so that it turns out. I have a few ideas in case this isn't quite as perfect as I need it to be. Alright. But thank you. Is it Jakes or Jacques? Like, I always pronounced... Okay, you guys read... have you ever read Redwall? Right? Book about a mouse. Lives in a church. Fights the vermin horde. Okay. Jacques? Okay. Redwall is written by a guy named Brian, and his last name is Jakes, spelled Jaques. And everyone I knew growing up reading it always pronounced it Jacques. And then when I was an adult, I was probably like 35, I saw some interview where they had him pronounce his name. And he said, oh, it's Brian Jakes. I was like, what? I've been bamboozled. Excuse me. All right. So... This is where it gets precarious. This is where I've been slipping with these pliers and just gouging the top of my middle finger knuckle over here. Am I using aluminum rings? Not for this. These are all stainless steel. Spring stainless steel. I had to get the spring stainless in order to get them to match the diameter. All right. Nope, that didn't work, did it? Okay. Yeah. It's like, I like the fact that it ended up being spring stainless inadvertently. Like, I didn't plan on that because it's going to hold this piece together so much better. But also, this is difficult stuff to work with. I'm not gonna lie. So, alright, can you guys hear the music? I wonder. Okay, because normally the music goes through the streaming platform. So, I don't know if the computer is sending music out to all the other platforms right now. That's not annoying at all. I will, I don't know. I don't know what I can do. I suppose I could contact Pretzel Rocks and be like, yo, your stuff isn't working. I don't know what they can do for me. You use stainless steel fishing lure for your jewelry? Right on. Very cool, very cool. I like using stainless for a lot of things. Okay. The only thing I ever want to use aluminum for ever again is for chainmail inlays, because anodized aluminum has a lot of color that it comes in. Anodized aluminum as a media. Oh, that was my chest that I just stabbed. Okay, so the downside of anodized aluminum is that as costume jewelry, the reality is that the more you wear it, the more the color is going to fade. Anodized aluminum fades in sunlight. The color rubs off. It can react with the chemicals of your skin, and the color will go away, right? Like, that's just... Is this the way they made chainmail vests back in the day? Yeah, one ring at a time. They riveted their rings, though, which I will get to hopefully later this year. We're getting everything together for that to happen. One piece at a time. Alright. I'm going to make sure all the rings are lined up correctly. But yeah, essentially, they'd make all the rings. They'd draw out their wire. They'd turn it into rings. And then flatten them so that they had a space to drive a rivet through. Punch a hole in it, drive a rivet through it, or punch a hole in it, weave it together, and then drive a rivet through it. So their process is a bit more involved on a per ring basis. Also, there are some excellent books on or I should say guides, right, on tailoring medieval... there are some excellent guides on the tailoring of medieval chainmail suits to an individual, right? And the way it worked is a museum curator would draw out... The ones I've seen are a museum curator draws out how they tailored chainmail suits to the individuals that wore them. And so that's it's not a lost skill at learning what an expansion and a contraction is in order to form fit your armor is not a difficult concept, but I have yet to see someone make a tailored chainmail shirt. So, not a lot of people do it nowadays. Alright. Oh my goodness. Alright, this ring, once it's in place, then the base of this piece will be done. Oh. Come on. Yeah, this is just getting unwieldy at this point, which is good. Like the larger, more unwieldy it is, translates into it's closer to completion. So it sucks, but it's closer to being done. What time is it? Got 3 rings done in 45 minutes with all the distractions. That's not bad. But yeah. So, I've only ever studied briefly how to make riveted mail. And, like I said, the process to make it is a lot more time consuming per ring. And it's one of the... Okay, so I've been doing this for a really long time, but I've never done riveted chainmail, right? I've never anodized anything, and up until last year, I had never welded any rings closed. So I got the welder, Gonna add power supply to do some anodizing and finish getting my riveting setup completed. And hopefully I'll have all that by the end of this year. So get all those additional tools that they're not required for you to learn how to make chainmail. You don't need them. But because of, like, I don't know, because of where I'm at in my skills as a chainmail artist, I should be able to do those things. You know, does that make sense? I should know how to do them at this point, and I don't. So I'm adding them, going to perfect those skills, and then once I'm done with all the projects in my basement, we'll start on the whole sculpture project that I've got going on. This is the first of hopefully many sculptures. We'll see what happens. And looks great. You'll hop on again. Have a good night. All right, Annie. Thanks for the follow. You have a wonderful evening. But even just making a vest and you don't fuse the 2 points will still look great. It does. Yeah, butted rings look fine. Right? Unless someone is a chainmail critic, right? Like 99% of all the chainmail made nowadays, most of the stuff you see at a Renaissance festival is going to be butted chainmail armor, right? Or if it's riveted, it'll be like aluminum, okay? Very little of it will be any type of historical chainmail. You might come across a piece here and there, but it's rare. Hey, Elsif, how you doing? You're welcome, Annie. Have a wonderful evening. It's like I have 3 chainmail shirts, and none of them are historical. They use butted rings. They're not based off of any historical design, except that one of them does use the European 4-in-1 pattern as traditionally seen in medieval Europe. You're okay? Just calming down for the night? Right on. So, I want to make quasi-historical pieces. Yeah, it's going to be riveted chainmail shirts at some point. But we're doing a couple different, I say we, I mean me. Like, I just talked about the tools I want to add, the power supply for anodizing, finishing the riveting setup, and getting my own coiling and cutting area, station set up. But, like this year, I want to finish all my projects in the basement, and hopefully by next year, I have enough rings to adjust 2 of the shirts that I have. I need to make them a little larger, because I've gotten a little larger. You know what I mean? I'm fat. Anyway, so I'm going to adjust those shirts, but I'm also going to split them down the front, turn them into jackets, put buckles all down the front, like leather buckles, line all the edges, put fur trim on everything, and make them look more like a mob wife vibe chainmail shirt. Does that make sense? Finished the pride bracelet you were working on today and made some earrings today? Right on. Is that the pride bracelet that you were having trouble finishing? That was you, right? Having trouble finishing a bracelet because you didn't have the energy? You got it done? Nice work. So, anyway, where was I? Oh, don't do that. I'm like actively flinching every time my pliers slip anymore because my knuckle hurts from where it was gouged out earlier. Like right there, I just hit my knuckle doing that. You got to go. You'll definitely be on your lives more. From which country? I'm in the United States. Jacques, it was nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate the wonderful comments. And if you're in another country, I completely understand having to get out of here, especially if you're like in a different time zone. I guess which begs the question, what Jacques, if you're still here, what time zone or what country are you hailing from? You know a few people in the SCA that have made historical chainmail things? I know a few people in the SCA who have made historical chainmail stuff. One of them doesn't stream anymore. I wish he would. He's not, say, a mentor, but I've learned a lot from him. He's a really nice guy. He does wonderful stuff. And he's the type of person who's forgotten more about chainmail than I'll ever know. But that's the SCA. They pride themselves on historical accuracy, right? Whereas a Renaissance festival, people just want to dress up and have a good time. You're Canada. You moved here from South Africa. Right on. So yeah, that's a huge difference between. Okay, if you go to the Renaissance Festival in a butted chainmail shirt, and by butted I mean the ends of the rings butt up against each other, they're not welded or riveted, right? No one at the Ren Fair is going to question it. They're all going to be like, hey, that's awesome, you made a chainmail shirt, very cool, good to go, right? The SCA, right, like, they give out, they're not degrees, but like certificates that deign you a master of traditional papermaking, deign you a master of, I don't know what else, traditional linen making or something, right? And so it's a little bit of a different thing. Pensic's more like a Ren Fair. I've never been. And this is, don't take what I'm saying, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because I'm not in the SCA. I'm not affiliated with it anyway. And for anyone wondering what the SCA is, it's the Society of Creative Anachronisms, right? The Society of Creative Anachronism. Something like that. One of those two. And they are a historical society out of time and place. But they pride themselves on being very historically accurate in everything that they do. You went for the first time last year. You're an active member. Right on. So yeah, if you have any questions about the SCA, ask Elsif, because this is just my understanding of something I'm not familiar with. I'm not trying to talk completely out of my backside, but ta-da! I don't have enough hands. The bottom layer is done. Do you guys like my tic-tac-toe board? You have different degrees of historical accuracy at the low end. Yeah. They're like that's their shtick, right? Is the historical accuracy of what you're doing. Whatever hobby you engage in. Alrighty. Next ring. Is This is going to be weird. You joined to fence, learn, and volunteer. Right on. What does that sound? It's like a woman, a woman, a woman, but a woman who can kill you. I keep forgetting that there are words I can't say on the clock app. All right, come on, loosen up. Second layer, here we come. I almost have enough rings finished already. So the first layer, it's 21, 16, 21, 16, 21, right? That's all the layers. That's how many rings are in each layer. And so that's the total is 95. 32 plus 63 is 95. And as your favorite brother calls you, cute, adorable, and dangerous. Exactly. Okay, we're still, I did this right. All the rings are going oriented the right way. And if you're wondering what I'm talking about, okay, there's the rings on this side lay this way, and the rings on this side, either they lay downwards, right? This side is up, and this side is down. And so one of the things that I was trying to maintain while I put this together, right, is making sure that all the big rings on each XYZ axis all face the same way, that all the rings lay down the same way, right? And that's a attention to detail thing that I think is important. It might not be. I don't know. I've never done this before. I'm literally making this up as I go along. But I think it's a thing, and I've likened it to a carpenter matching up all the wood grain in his whatever project he's working on so that it all flows the same direction. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. You had to fix a set of rings tonight? You had to fix a set of rings tonight while finishing Pride Bracelet project? So you had like a mistake that you had to fix, or you had to like adjust how a ring was bending, kind of thing? It's always a fun game when you have to stop what you're doing and adjust your supplies. I've done that many a time. This is going to be problematic. Good Lord. Okay. Now, one of the things you want to pay attention to when you're making chainmail is your closures. And this is a big piece, and there's a lot of closures, and I'm trying to make sure everything looks closed, is adequately closed. Like, what's going on over here? Why is that so... I'm missing a ring. It's like, why is this loose? What is going on? I didn't finish over here, apparently. I hope that was the ring I was working on. The last one I added. Otherwise, you had a mistake with one ring going in the wrong direction? Yeah, I've had that. It's not the most fun to fix those, but... Alright, also, when it comes to being an artist and paying attention to detail, don't miss where you're supposed to put a ring. Like I just did. Because that's bad. Not gonna work. Hang on. Okay, so try that again. Yes. Okay. So if you want to start making chainmail, be sure to check your closures and make sure that the rings are as nicely lined up as you can make them. Ideally, you're turning the closures as invisible as you can. Right? Now, with saw cut rings, it's a lot easier. If you get a good saw cut ring closed nicely, you won't see the opening again. Right? But these machine cut ones, it's a little bit harder to make it like just disappear. All right. Did I put all the rings in this one this time? That looks much better. Glad I found that. Luckily it was at the end, so it was an easy fix. That's good. That's good. I've had okay. I hate to do this. I hate when I do this, right? When someone tells me they had a problem and then I try to relate to it by going, mentioning a bigger problem. It's like, oh, you had it at the end of your project. I had mine right in the middle, and I had to take it all the way apart, right? I'm not trying to do that, but in an effort to relate to that, I've had some mistakes at the end of projects. The end and the beginning aren't so bad. It's the ones that are, you have to undo half the projects to fix them. Those are the ones that make you want to throw a project aside. But as with anything, just set it aside if you get too frustrated and come back to it later. I've done that with many projects. In fact, here's how I operate, right? I have here. Let's talk about this project right here, okay? This is my logo. Speaking of my logo, I recently got a sign. Oh, we're getting the puzzle piece of death. There we go. I recently got a sign. Doesn't it look good? Okay. And this is, the sign is of my logo, right? So I tried to remake my logo out of chainmail. At first, this little sculptural piece was not working out at all. And this is the third iteration of it. And it's finally starting to look like something I want. I want to get rid of this outside chain. I want to make these craft rings on the inside bigger. They're slanting the whole piece. So it needs one more iteration, but I started this a long time ago, worked on it a little more. This looked completely different, right? Didn't like it, came back to it a little while later, made some adjustments, came back to it a third time, and now I'm here, right? And I'm really close to what I want, right? Like I said, I want to get rid of this outside strand of full Persian that goes all the way around it. But other than that, this is what I want. I just got to get the tension right on it with the central ring, and it should hold itself in place. Sorry if I'm shaking the camera. So that is how I operate. I get started on something, and then it's if I don't like it, I set it aside and I come back to it later. after I've had some time to mull on it a little bit. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. All right. Back to closing rings that I can't see the closure of. Because everything's in the way. Oh, man. So this thing, like, it looks a mess right now, but just, I'm really happy with the amount of progress I've gotten done. Like, it's finally starting to look like something, you know? What else has been going on? It's like I didn't leave the house today except to drop my kid off and pick him up. He's learning the capitals and their, the states and their capitals. He's got to memorize it all. And so I introduced him to the Wacko Warner 50 U.S. States and Their Capitals song from Animaniacs. And that has certainly helped him a lot to learn all the states and their capitals. But he also enjoys Yakko Warner's Countries of the World. And so we listen to it at least twice a day. Once on the way to school, once on the way coming home. And it's one of his last few final projects before the end of the year. It's like we have a science project we have to do. I say we, I mean me. So we've got 50 U.S. states and their capitals, the science project. He has to finish reading. He's supposed to read 20 books throughout the year. And he's almost there. He's got one or two left to do. I'm not quite sure how many. But getting him to read books is like pulling teeth. He's not a fan. So, and then I think there's one more other thing that we have to do. But I don't remember what it is right now. Did I hear about the VA redid and updated Countries of the World? Did I hear that the VA redid and updated Countries of the World? No, I did not. Like, there are countries in the Yakko Warner song from Animaniacs from 1990 that no longer exist, right? Like Yugoslavia's Slovakia and the Czech Republic now. I think there's one or two other examples in that song. But what do you mean the VA did? Talking about like Veterans Affairs, or what is VA in this context? All right. It's like I liked the Animaniacs originally. It's a good show. It was funny. Okay, so the voice actor redid an updated Country of the World. I did not know that. I would have to look that up. That's cool. I'm like, why would the Veterans Affairs redo the Countries of the World? It's the CIA's job. He's on TikTok with the new countries. That's cool. It's like I liked the original cartoon. Between that and Looney Tunes, my education was pretty good. So it's like learned classical music from Bugs Bunny and couple of educational bits from these cat dog things. Uh-oh. What's going on, YouTube? Oh, okay. So, yeah. Yeah, that's still not working. That's interesting. Okay. So the music coming out of my speakers does not get picked up by my microphone. So anybody watching on any of the other platforms I'm streaming on, they don't hear anything. So that's an interesting thing to note as we move towards 10,000 followers and using the computer for all my streaming. So keep that in mind. I'll get like a Discman, like a CD player, and plug my speakers into that, and we'll listen to copyright-free music that way. 'Cause I don't know what the solution would be. Oh, Lord. Okay. Please be safe when you're making chainmail and use the appropriate pliers for all projects. Right? You can never have too many pliers when you're making chainmail. They are something you will begin to collect if you ever pick up the hobby. And frankly, I don't have enough. And I have quite a few pairs. Not enough for this job. Alright. See what I mean? There we go. Alright, first ring in the second layer is... There it is. I got time for one more, I think. So once this second layer is in, this should become a lot more rigid. So, should start looking like something here pretty soon. Did Midwell soldiers wear that type of labor-intensive chainmail? Did medieval soldiers wear that? No, they wore like European foreign one. I don't even have an example in reach. That's how. Oh, excuse me. Hang on, I'll show you. Nope, not that. Okay. So this is like the chainmail you see in movies. European foreign one. That just means that 4 rings pass through each other ring. Right? And this is blackened stainless steel. It was a shirt, but I took the shirt apart because I couldn't finish the shirt, and it's now becoming part of my motorcycle. But the rings would be riveted shut as opposed... These are just butted rings. A shirt made from... Okay, so I'm using small rings to make big rings for this project, right? And someone said I should make a shirt using this where I take small rings and make big rings out of it for a shirt, which would be cool. Excuse me. I don't know exactly how I would go about doing that, but that would be cool. All right. The labor-intensive aspect of medieval chainmail was that each ring that was riveted had to be drawn, same as this, drawn into a wire, coiled, cut, however they made their rings, but they had to anneal the ring, which means to soften it, and punch a hole in it, riveted it, or punch a hole in it, weave it, then rivet it closed. And so there were a lot more steps as opposed to what I'm doing, which is just opening a ring, weaving a ring, and closing a ring, right? Is that even right? Oh. I was wondering what I was doing wrong. It helps when you're weaving rings together that you weave them correctly, as I have not done several times in the past little bit here. Just my mind, it's going fuzzy. Slowly losing it. For copyright-free music on YouTube, this isn't half bad. Here's the trick, though. Here's what's going to happen, right? Because I'm streaming to YouTube right now, and I'm playing copyright-free music off of YouTube, and technically the stream shouldn't be picking up any music because of the OBS system. But if it does, what do you want to bet YouTube gives me a strike for using... It'll say it's non-copyright free music. I bet it will. I wouldn't put it past YouTube to do that. That would be funny. Where does one get all the rings? So these rings are from the Ring Lord up in Canada. But there are a bunch of suppliers of rings. And if you want a list of suppliers, you can go to the link tree in my bio and download the Mailworks app. And there's a list of suppliers there that all make different chainmail rings. I mean, they're mostly similar, but each supplier is a little different, a little unique. And you can make your own. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Isn't that a Bible verse? Seen are temporal, but the things which... That sounds like a psalm or a... Not Job. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate you. Other books. What book is that from? It sounds like a Bible verse, but I don't think it is. It's probably from, like, Game of Thrones or something. Something awful like that. All right. So, yeah. Oh, and if you're wanting to get rings and you download the Mailworks app and you get into a supplier's ring selection page, right? Go and find a kit from one of those suppliers. Don't order rings randomly at first, right? If you've never made chainmail of any kind before and you're not familiar with the sizes or the supplier, get a kit from them. Usually comes with a tutorial and the right size ring to make whatever you're making. I know We've Got Mail has kits. Metal Designs has kits. And then Chainmail Joe has a good beginner's kit that comes in a beautiful box with a beautiful booklet of tutorials and a bunch of different ring sizes. They've got a $100 kit and a $50 kit. And I'm going to get, as soon as I get my tax return, I'm going to get one of their kits so that when people ask where to get started, I can just go, look at my beautiful box and all its wonderful contents, and I can stop like trying to explain what it is, you know what I mean? It's like, I don't mind explaining it, but I don't feel like I do it justice. It's kind of where I'm coming from. So where are we at here? 9:51? This should take us to 10 o'clock here. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 rings in an hour and a half. That's a pretty good speed. Not something I'm really concerned about because I'm not on a timeline for this. There's no point in which it has to be done, except for that I made 2 large mistakes on it and had to fix them, and that set me back like a week both times. So I want to get it done now, right? So I have no other reason to finish it except that it made me angry, right? I want to get it done and then go and finish the other projects I should have done. Shouldn't even be working on this one right now. Sometimes you just need a prop when you explain. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, I need my state tax return to come back, and then I'll get a kit and a couple other things for the stream. And then we're gonna hit 10,000 soon, and this whole setup's gonna change. So that's gonna be cool. What is it? Johnny Baggins, how you doing? Johnny, we are taking small rings, like small rings, and we're turning them into big rings, right? Big rings. And we're weaving the big rings together in a weave that should give us a jelly cube, right? Something like this. Looks cool. Thank you. So hopefully it'll be a little bit more rigid than this one because it is a sculptural piece for display, and I don't want it to look droopy. Right? Like you're not going to pick this up and then try and shake it. It's going to be 20 plus pounds. So like you might, but I'm sure someone will. Whoever ends up purchasing it will decide what they can do, whatever they want with it. But my intention is for it to be a piece you look at, mostly. So I want it a little bit more rigid than this jelly cube style, because I had it where it was kind of droopy like this, kind of jelly like this. I'd say droopy. This is jelly, right? This was droopy. So I took it apart, shortened, made all the individual big rings smaller, and then now I'm back together, and we are cruising along on this project. So hopefully we'll have something here pretty soon. If I got, let's say I got 10 rings done today, and I got 5 woven. So that's 21, 22, 23. I'm not even going to try to do math. I think I can get this done in the next week. I think. If I don't stab myself to death. Can I say that on TikTok? Probably not. I'll probably get banned for that. I don't even know. Okay. Alright. I'm glad you think it looks cool, by the way. That gives me hope that I haven't just wasted 3 weeks of my time. I've had a lot of people tell me I've wasted my time. That was fun. Good Lord. See, let me if you're okay. Words are words. If you haven't hung out with me before and haven't heard this before, then this is new to you. But if you haven't hung out with me before, then or if you have hung out with me before, then you might have heard me say this before, but I need you to understand something, right? Normally, if I slipped with these pliers on the softer, older rings that I have, that are just regular stainless, okay, it would leave a huge mark, right? But these are spring steel, and all these, like, motions where I'm losing control of the ring and it slips out of my pliers, they're not leaving a mark on the ring at all. That's how hard these rings are. So, just to give you... I don't know. Does that make sense? Normally, with any ring, when your pliers slip, scars up the rings real bad, so you don't want pliers to slip. Even, like, usually you use pliers with no teeth in them, right? And you can still, you don't want to leave tool marks, ideally, right? And with these rings, like, I don't know if I can leave tool marks, which is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's a cool. It is a cool material to work with for sure. It's like this is not a. These rings aren't welded closed. Someone could come in and like leverage the rings apart. It would take a lot of effort on their part to destroy this, but I'm not going to say it couldn't be done. But with this spring steel on here, it's going to be difficult. Like, hopefully not worth the energy if someone decides to destroy it. It's like the only other thing I could do is weld each ring shut, which I'm fine with doing, but it's difficult to weld machine cut rings. These are all machine cut. It's much easier to weld saw cut rings, but they're very expensive. And so I'm not going to make any sculptures that are out of saw cut rings and then try and weld them all together until I have my coiling and cutting set up ready to go, hopefully by the end of this year. So if I can make the rings myself and get them comparable to what you can, I need them comparable to the saw cut rings you can buy from one of many chainmail suppliers out there right now, right? Then I can weld those, the stainless ones anyway. I have to learn how to weld titanium if I make any titanium sculptures. All right, 23 rings woven. So that leaves us with 72 rings to put on this thing. It's going to be 95 total. Right, we're building out the next layer. It's going to be cool. I think what I might do, we'll see. These center rings don't want to stay in place. I might make a small chain to go in between each of these center rings and around the ring I'm holding right there to keep these 4 rings in place. We might just like, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. That's one of the solutions I've thought about if this isn't like rigid enough. So, with that, it is 10 o'clock. Welding is the same, just add gas shielding. Right. But I'm in my basement. I don't want to add gas shielding in my basement. I would have to install an... well, I need to install an exhaust fan anyway. But we can talk more about that later, John. For anyone watching who's like, whoa, chainmail is the coolest. I want to learn how to make that. You can make this stuff at home. You don't have to, like, take a wire coat hanger and wrap it into a coil and cut all the rings yourself, right? You don't have to. You can. It's a great place to start. What I tell everybody is go download the Mailworks app from the link tree in my bio. It's available on Google and Apple. And that has all the resources I would have wanted when I first got started 28 years ago. It's got a list of 15 different suppliers. There's one I got to add. It's got an artist section for other chainmail artists and their stores. So if you're looking to buy some chainmail, go check out the artist section. The artists in there, they have their own websites. They've got stock. They take custom requests, stuff like that. So if you're looking to buy some chainmail, go check them out. If inside the app, there's a bunch of tools for new and veteran chainmail artists, and I'm working on it right now. The icons are still a little wonky. I need to fix them, but everything works. There's a Discord in there that you can join. Still building that out as well. But we got that started. If I'm usually on 8:30 to 10 most nights of the week, just hanging out, unless I got family stuff, or I need a night off or something. A couple weeks ago, I had to take a night off because my wrists were killing me, and that might happen again. I'm not gonna lie, this spring steel is no joke. So we'll see. We'll see how long I can continue to put this together before my body says, "Hey, no more." And I don't want to cause myself permanent damage because this is what I do all day, like 10 hours a day. So I need my hands. I need them to work. But most nights, 8:30 to 10 Central Standard Time, just chilling here, putting projects together, introducing the people to the idea of chainmail. If you like what I'm doing and you want to see more, please go to my website, mailworks.com. I design and sell chainmail themed apparel and accessories, and I've got a lot of cool stuff in there. One of my biggest sellers this year was the giant snug hoodie. It's got like chainmail print all over it and everything, and it's super warm, and I'll have one here at the house here pretty soon. Waiting on that tax return. But thank you for the follows, guys. I do appreciate it. Please follow along. Help me get to 10,000. Once I have 10,000 followers, that gives me access to the TikTok live studio or stream key so that I can use my computer to stream on all my platforms, and I'm here, I'm there, I'm here, I'm there. You know what I mean? So Thank you very much. I do appreciate it. We are getting close. Like 1,300 people needed until we hit 10,000. So much appreciated. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out in regards to chainmail. It's what I do all day, every day. And I'm not an expert. I just have experience. This is not a complicated project. It's just it's two simple things that I've combined and added a little bit of complexity. So it looks expert level. It's not. I'm very sneaky. I'm very sneaky like that. But it will be cool when it's done. So follow along for more. Tell your friends. Tell your family. Tell everyone at the Renaissance Festival you're going to. Yeah, that's dope. I like that a lot. And I will be back on tomorrow night or the night after. Probably tomorrow night. Like I said, I'm on most nights. But you all have a wonderful evening. Appreciate you hanging out. I look forward to... last thing. Follow me. Go to my Linktree and follow me on all my other social platforms. I don't know what's going to happen with any of the platforms in the future. But following along on those other platforms ensures that we stay in touch. And we've hung out this long. I want to see you again. So follow along on those other platforms. Help me build them up. TikTok's my best performing platform so far. I hope nothing happens to it. But we don't know what the future brings. So I look forward to seeing you guys later. You all have a wonderful evening. Bye.